Now, this watch has been on my wrist for over 10 years, throughout my military career and some time after that. So it's been to quite a few different places, from the Middle East to Africa, Europe, and it's still been put through its paces here in the UK as well. This watch comes with a bit of a story actually. I had first got into the parachute regiment and I'd been to Kenya. That was the first thing that I did when I arrived at my unit. So I've been away a little while and came back ready for Christmas break and wanted to treat myself to my first proper watch. I'd actually been looking on Gumtree initially, believe it or not. I found this watch, which was about 30 miles away from where I was staying or where I was based. Got in touch with the seller. It was advertised as near new, not worn. Turns out the area that it was advertised was not actually correct, and he was in fact closer to where I was based. In fact, he was even in the same unit. So I ended up going to see him, who was in just the block next to mine, and he showed me this watch, which was still in the box at the time, and it had even still got the film over the front of the face, which I might add, by the way, this has aged amazingly. The glass has still not got a scratch on it, which is the same as the very first day that I looked at it. Now, he actually didn't like the watch. It was too big for his wrist. I don't know how, because this is not the biggest of watches, but I ended up buying the watch off him and it stayed with me for the remaining time in my military career and for some years after as well. So this watch has been around the ring a little bit. It's not came off my wrist. I've worn it for pretty much everything. Been in the sea, up on the mountains, in cold weather, hot weather, and it's never let me down. It's more than I can say for if I was wearing a smartwatch, which would nowhere near be able to withstand the amount of abuse this has taken over the years. Now, a lot of people that I used to work with did wear things like Casios that stood up to the abuse, but they were just a bit Johnny age 5, and I wanted something a bit more classy, and this really fit the bill. It's obviously not very professional if you're in a military unit in the field, but I just used to wear a watch strap to cover it up, which is, as it happens, something that Stirling do sell on their site, because these guys are a military watch brand, not a car racing watch brand like this one. So these are a bit more fit for purpose. And what's made me love this watch more than anything throughout my period of ownership is that it's been indestructible. It's weathered and worn really well without looking too battered and bruised. One thing that made it weather well was the fact that the glass was sapphire crystal. So when looking for a new watch, my criteria would be, and has been, that it must have sapphire crystal glass, which is where this watch then comes in. This is a Stirling Durrant. This watch comes with a Zulu strap to like the aesthetic of this. It looks just brilliant. With quite a large watch on a Zulu strap is a great look in my opinion. This watch has been on my wrist for a few months now in comparison to the 10 years that the tag's been on my wrist. However, I have crammed a lot into the few months that I've had this because of the timing of me receiving this watch, which was just at the start of me setting off on my road trip. It has been clanged about my Land Rover when I've been turning that into a car camper. It's been with me up to the top of Mount Olympus and down to the bottom of the Mediterranean Sea when I've been doing spearfishing in Greece. It's been put through its paces, and to be honest, you wouldn't be able to tell that it's been in the sea and up a mountain. Nothing on this reveals, by way of damage, that it's done those things. One thing that I was worried about was this Zulu strap. I thought, because this is quite a large watch and a weighty watch at that as well, I didn't think that a fabric strap would stand up to the daily abuse that I was going to put it through, but even the strap has stood up fairly well. There are some little notches which you would expect from a fabric strap or a leather strap as well, but nothing as much as what I've seen in the past when I've worn fabric strapped watches. Now, Stirling did gift me this watch as sponsorship for my road trip video, but that being said, I can be fairly critical because I'm not affiliated in any way, so I don't make any money if you go and buy 100 of these watches, even though if I was you, I would definitely go and get these, because TAG is a pretty impressive watch brand, pretty well known, and to say that this outperforms it at half the price is a pretty big statement to make, and I would say that it does outperform it as well.